Hey, I'm Danny Coeyman. I am 33 and I live in Brooklyn, and this is my video out. So when I live in Brooklyn now, but growing up I lived in that pathetic little peninsula known as Florida, and I spent all of my time trying to be the best that I could be at hiding. Did the best I could. I had a huge crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas, back then known as the voice of Simba, and when he did that movie, Three Ninjas, I was like, I'm gonna do Taekwondo, and my parents approved because it was so butch. But really what I loved about being in Taekwondo was flitting about and spinning and being basically a ballerina in a dobak. And all the way up through high school, when I had all of these great intimate relationships with girls, I took 7 girls to prom 1 year. And even later in college, when I was just starting to put myself through school, I worked at the Barnes & Noble, and I was like the most intellectual, asexual. I was a monk of the Barnes & Noble Mall. And all of that changed one day when, coming home from my job at Barnes & Noble with my lanyard and my name and my flare and my t-shirt still, or my button-down still tucked in, I walked up to my parents' house where I was living and didn't make it past the foyer. And my mom was standing there, and she was holding a book, a Barnes & Noble journal, and she just looked at me and said, "How long have you known that you were gay?" Up until that point, I had always sort of known. I thought I was just very sensitive for a while, or maybe I was a great artist or a genius. All of that meant that I felt different. And when the word gay became part of the way in which I could understand my difference, I came out to a lot of friends. And I had a chance when I was in college to take a trip up to Washington, D.C. And in that journal, I wrote about my first time being on an airplane, my first time sleeping with a guy, not fucking him. We were sleeping literally next to each other in the bed, and that was enough. I walked through DuPont Circle, learning and singing at the top of my lungs the entire soundtrack to Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and I even got to play Connect 4 at a fun bar with some skeevy stranger before my friends rescued me, realizing that I was probably just fresh meat. So when I came back, I had all of these experiences and very few people to tell them to. All of my old high school friends had fled north, and I was there, stuck in Florida, doing the best that I could. My parents, when they found out, they dragged me into the kitchen. And I remember sitting there literally for 3 days, explaining to them the ins and outs of everything about my sexuality, which ironically at that point was nothing. I was still a virgin. And my parents, in their minds, they had this image that gay guys are those weirdos who come to Disney World once a year wearing their red shirts. Gay guys are those people who die of AIDS in United Colors of Benetton ads. They are not our son. They dragged me to a priest who happened to have a psychology degree. And I remember the priest wanted to sit down with me first. And I said, great. And I sat down and I crossed my arms. And for the first time in my life, I realized that there was a razor blade under my tongue, that I could fight to survive. And so I did. The priest told me that sex happens in the mind and that God still loves me. And I crossed my arms and said, I know that. It's your job to get my parents to know that, and I'm out of here. And I did. I got up and I left. When we went home, my dad said that I was dead to him, that the son that he thought he knew no longer existed. It was a few days before his birthday, which is June 14th, and 4 days before mine, which is June 16th. And on my birthday, when I turned 21, I moved out of the house. I had one friend, and she came so that things would be peaceful. And we moved all of my stuff. And on my birthday, I lost my family. In that moment, I was so invested in being still the good son. And I looked around our house, which had been an interrogation room for days, and looked at all of the trophies I had collected, all of the photos of us as a happy family at SeaWorld, all of their Thomas Kincaid paintings, and all of the cross-stitching I had done, all the paintings I had made. And I drank it in and realized that home and belonging were things that I had tried to deserve. That everything I had done up until that point was to prove that I deserved to be there, knowing that this moment would come. And my family, they were raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic too. So their reason for having me leave was that they didn't want me to be sinful. They didn't want me to damn myself to hell. And my mom's parting words were that she wished that I would never find love, because then at least I would, never be with a man and hopefully be celibate for the rest of my life. It's funny that those things can still happen in this age of gay marriage and, Abercrombie and Fitch homoerotic ads, but it does. And I spent months crying. I spent all of these milestones of my life that were supposed to be amazing in college in absolute isolation and sadness. My first kiss was with a guy off of Manhunt, an ugly guy off of Manhunt. My first time having sex was with a guy, and I was like, just some like rando, and it was like, well, if I'm going to go through all the trouble to be out, I might as well be fucking. I didn't get to walk with my family at my college graduation. I graduated a year late because I had so much disruption. And to this day, there are moments where my family readily says that they love me, but that they have absolutely no understanding of who I am. They were doing the best that they could. And a few years ago, I called them up and I told them that I understood that. I said that I had had some time to figure out what was going on with me, and that they deserve some time to figure it out for themselves as well. I remember calling my dad. He picked up the phone, and I said, "Dad, I just need to let you know that I forgive you." And his response was, "Do you want to talk to your mom?" And my mom and I talked much longer. And I remember at the very end saying to my mom, "Do you remember that time when you said that you wish that I would never find love?" And I don't remember, Daniel. I don't remember any of that. I said, "That's okay, I remember. And I just wanted you to know that I'm not going to live that way anymore. We're lifting the curse here and now. I'm going to do the best I can to find love, and to find it in a meaningful way. And I'm not coming home for Christmas because my family now are my weird queer friends up in New York City. That's cool. I understand." And the rest of my life ever since has been about understanding one really important thing. It's not enough just to survive. You deserve to live. You deserve to be as audacious and vibrant and alive as you are. That southern shame of what will the neighbors think, veiled behind religion, That sense that I'm too big for my britches and don't belong to this family anymore and should really tone it down, that I'm too much, that may have been the best that they could do, but my best is so much better. The life I'm living is absolutely the life that I've fought for, and now that I've arrived and I've survived, I have one last thing to do, which is let go of that. Let go of all of that tragedy, all of that pain, and even the resentment and jealousy. My choice to forgive them was a choice to move forward in love. So, you might come out and you might lose a lot. You probably will. I certainly did. What I lost in being myself, I gained in letting other people see who I truly was. And now up here in Brooklyn with my cool, cute, queer family, every Thanksgiving, eating their annoying vegan food and all of that shit, I feel loved. And I wish that for you as well.